This is Zach Schuster, Cyclocross Magazine. I'm here with Gage Hecht. Great race last weekend. What was that experience like racing with Stephen Hyde, man?
It was amazing. I mean, I've looked up to Stephen Hyde and that group of riders since I was a little kid racing like at Boulder Cup and all the little stuff in Denver. And it's super cool to see him right in front of me at a race, which is it was just an amazing experience to be able to ride behind him and get follow his lines for a race. And I had a blast.
So last week I was doing some research and I was looking back to, when you won Kokeside. Was it a surprise to be up there with them, or is this something that was a long time coming for you?
Last weekend?
Yeah.
It was a shocker. Like I knew the race I needed to be aggressive and stay up to the front because the couple weekends before, Rochester, I made the mistake of like kind of sitting near the back of the group and you get that big slinky effect the entire race. And I wasted a lot of energy there, and I wanted to make sure I didn't have that happen. So every time somebody would move up, I wanted to make sure I was like staying top four maybe. And Steve moved up to the front. I got on his wheel, and I looked back like half a lap later and shocked, like, there's nobody with us right now, is there? It was really weird. I had no idea that would happen, so it was pretty cool.
So you've been getting to do some big time races. You got to do the World Cups. And we talked at the end of the summer about everything you learned from Avolo on the road. What have you learned about cyclocross so far this season?
So I've learned a lot, like just following, just technically, like just getting skills to stay up with those guys. It's good motor pacing, like just trying to get the speed to stay with those guys. And I've definitely learned a lot about, like I said, the Rochester thing, like just making sure I'm up in the group and not at the back of the group getting shot off the back every time we come out of a corner. And just making sure I'm being aggressive early in the race. So they've taught me a lot, just racing with those guys, and it's always fun to talk to them too, get to hear about what they think I could be doing better too.
So this weekend you've got today's race with the elites, and then tomorrow is kind of it's the reunion of that U23 race from Nationals. Have you guys been talking trash or like hyping this up? How are you feeling going into tomorrow, man?
I'm pretty excited for it. I love Pan Am Championships. It's always really fun to get to compete against everybody in North America and South America too, and we get the riders that come up from there. So that is pretty fun, and I'm excited to race the U23 race again. It's always fun racing with Spencer since we've been racing together since we were, I think, like back in the 13-14s or maybe even in the 10-12s. So it's fun to have that competition going, and as always, Lance hated to race against him. It's pretty cool, and that whole category has gotten really strong, and it'll be a hard race, so I'm excited for it.
Lance will be wearing the jersey, right? So you guys get to give him a hard time, right?
Oh yeah. It's gonna be. It'll be cool to see him out there in that kit. I love that kit. He did a good job on that, and it's fun to see him out there.
Well, cool. And then finally, have you ridden the course yet? We're here on Saturday morning, afternoon. Have you gotten out on the course yet?
Yeah, I rode it last night actually. When I think it was a little slicker than it is today. I haven't been out there yet, but that's what I've heard. Is it's gotten a little tackier, and yeah, it was nasty last night. It felt like you sank in like an inch into the mud, but nothing really picked up too much. It was a hard course. I know, just like trying to do my easiest spin I could, I was still sweating and like I felt like my heart rate was through the roof all night. So well, hopefully it's tacked up a little bit more today, so it's not quite so hard to warm up on.
Well, cool. Well, thanks, Gage. Congrats on everything you've accomplished this year. Congrats on last week, and look forward to seeing you out here this weekend.
Yeah, sure. Thank you.